over the weekend, obviously with those two big bombshells that dropped with Damian Lillard and James Harden in the NBA. Free agency also kicked off Friday night at 6 p.m. And I'm obviously not going to go over every single move that happened in free agency, but there were a couple that I want to address. The first one being Kyrie Irving going back to Dallas, signing a 3-year, $126 million deal, $42 million a year with the Dallas Mavericks. Now, we all know the Mavericks have been desperate for, the last year and a half, ever since letting Jalen Brunson essentially walk to the Knicks without getting nothing back from him in return. They tried to get Kristaps Porzingis. That did not work. Obviously, Brunson left. They've been trying to pair another star with Luka Doncic. And the idea was, hey, listen, Kyrie Irving, he's free at the end of the year. We can get him a rental for a couple months. We can see how this thing works. Kyrie Irving is a very talented player. We need to make Luka Doncic happy because we just made the Western Conference Finals the year before, and we are slowly slipping in the Western Conference. So Kyrie Irving comes in, and I had said at the time of the deal, this is not going to work. It's going to be a disaster. They both need the ball. Kyrie Irving is a great basketball talent, but like we just talked about with James Harden in the last segment, it's the complete opposite. Harden's pretty good in the locker room. On the field, he can be a little bit of whoop, seems to have a problem with the coach, yada, yada, yada. On the court, Kyrie Irving is as sensational as a wizard, as a clutch shot maker that we have ever seen in the history of the NBA. Off the court, though, is a different story. And after seeing Luka and Kyrie be a complete disaster together in Dallas, Mark Cuban was so desperate to get Luka Doncic a second star. And, this free agency class was not the greatest free agency class. There are guys available out there via trade, but they're mostly guards. This is not a wing/center free agency/trade class that we're seeing with the NBA. But Mark Cuban, seeing the Lakers redid their roster at the trade deadline, seeing Phoenix go out and get Bradley Beal, obviously Denver winning the NBA championship, knowing Golden State is still there. If Zion ever gets healthy for the Pelicans, they're a legitimate contender. Obviously, the Kings are an up-and-coming team in the West. Seeing all of that, and you got Memphis and John Morant and their situation, and they're still a very good basketball team. Seeing all of that, Mark Cuban decided, I can't go in to this season without a second star next to Luka Doncic. Let's bite the bullet and let's pay Kyrie Irving, hold up, $42 million a year over a 3-year period. After seeing Kyrie and Luka together go 5-11, and the Mavericks, who were the number 4 seed at the time of the NBA trade deadline in February, drop out of the play-in tournament in the Western Conference. Now, Mark Cuban, he's obviously on Shark Tank with ABC during the fall and the spring every Friday night. He's a very smart businessman. Mark Cuban, I know you're in Shark Tank. I know you made a lot of good investments. I'm sure on Shark Tank you made a lot of bad investments. This, my friend, is a bad investment. I would have let Kyrie Irving walk because clearly there was not a market for one Mr. Irving. The Lakers did not want him, which the Lakers made a lot of sweet moves, by the way. Gabe Vincent, Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, bringing back D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves. They have really filled out their core and their depth and their role players to go along with LeBron and AD. If the Lakers, if they're two guys, which are older, obviously, LeBron, Anthony Davis, if they're healthy, the Lakers are going to be a legitimate team next year. Because once again, what did Denver show us this past year? The era of the big three in the NBA, I truly believe at this point, is over. You have to have one superstar, Nikola Jokic, one star, Jamal Murray, and a bunch of very good B to B plus role players. Bruce Brown, Christian Braun, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter, their third best player, at a horrible series. They still dominated for the playoffs and won the NBA championship. So Dallas is saying we have our superstar, Luka Doncic. We have our star, Kyrie Irving. The problem is, again, the fit. And in the NBA, Jamal Murray, small. Nikola Jokic, big. Aaron Gordon, wing. Bruce Brown, wing. That fit works. Lakers, Austin Reeves, guard. LeBron, wing. Anthony Davis, big. That fit works. Phoenix, Chris, Kevin Durant, big wing. Bradley Beal, sort of guard. We'll have to see what Devin Booker, how he fits in. That's my question. What about the fit in Phoenix? What do we see with Golden State, though? Obviously, Curry, guard. Wiggins, wing. Draymond, wing. Looney, big. Thompson, obviously, out there, wing / guard. But he's a bigger wing and guard. It all works, obviously. I'm not sure this fit with Dallas, Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic. It's not going to work. I would have not done it. For the record, Golden State signed Draymond Green, 4 years, $100 million, $25 million a year. I know what you're saying. That's a lot for a guy like Draymond Green. Listen, the Cavs just paid Max Strus 4 years, $64 million. That is only 16 a year. There are guys in the NBA, Kyrie Irving, as I just said, making $42 million a year. Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul were making close to $50 million at one point. You can throw James Harden in there as well. The NBA salary cap is only expanding. So there are guys that we think are okay to decent players that are going to make $18 to $20 million. It's why I think the 3-year, $33 million deal, the Lakers gave Vincent was a good deal. Austin Reeves got about $14, $15 million a year. Looking for Austin Reeves, a really good player. That's solid value at the salary cap market the NBA is at. $42 million for Kyrie Irving is not a good deal. I'd rather pay Draymond Green and spread that money out. So again, within a year or two, if you wanted to, it is cuttable, it is tradable. Spread that money out like they do in the NFL, where they always have dummy years, right? Where it's like, a 10-year, $350 million, but the last, 2 years, half of the money so you can save some salary cap room, right? So we spread it out so it's not as big of a cap in as it is right now for us. It keeps our window open, and Draymond Green at $25 million a year is a lot more valuable to Golden State, who is going to come back on a mission. They just got rid of their cancer in the locker room with Jordan Poole. I already talked about the addition of Chris Paul last week on the show, and it's sort of a one more run feel to it if you're the Warriors. Going back to Kyrie Irving, if I was Dallas, I would have saved that money. There's a lot of bad NBA GMs and some bad franchises. A bad franchise that just needs to sell tickets, Washington being one of them. They might have gone out and signed Kyrie and thought it would be a good idea to put Kyrie and Jordan all together. Who knows? Charlotte, do you put LaMelo and Kyrie Irving together? They probably could have, because they need to sell tickets with LaMelo, Brandon Miller. There are teams that need to sell tickets. Dallas is not one of those. Dallas is in the business of winning championships. And so, yes, losing Jalen Brunson was a major mistake. But you cannot panic and go get Kyrie Irving for 3 years, $42 million. I thought a guy like Paul George would fit great next to Luka Doncic. Maybe you can still do a Kyrie Irving for Paul George trade. We're not a Paul George a lot today, because again, Paul George in Philly would work. If Portland would have got Dame, Paul George in Portland would work. Paul George with Dallas will work, and Kyrie Irving with the Clippers will work. Well, the Clippers do not need Paul George and Kawhi Leonard anymore. It's pretty clear on that. It's why I even propose Darius Garland of the Cavs going to the Clippers for Paul George, because I don't know if Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are going to work. And the Cavs made some nice additions with Max Strus and George Niang. They got some needed shooting off the bench, but they still do not have a legit wing in a conference with nothing but legit wings in Philly, Boston, Milwaukee, even the Knicks. So, team building, I get it. In the NBA, it's very hard, though the dumb franchises always come back around. The smart franchises always come back around. I really love what the Lakers did with all those additions. I think they're right there with Denver. We'll have to see what the fit is in Phoenix. I think Sacramento needs another year, and they're going to be right there. Golden State sort of feels like this is their opportunity. So re-signing Kyrie Irving did nothing for me to put Dallas over the needle. As a matter of fact, I may not even pick Dallas to make the playoffs next year because I don't think this Luka Kyrie Irving situation is going to work at all. I do think the Lakers got better. I don't think Denver got any worse as of right now, but they haven't got any better either. And that's a dangerous situation to play. If New Orleans and Zion Williamson comes back, the Pelicans have some really nice pieces. They're going to be a legitimate team in the West. And as I mentioned earlier, the East really comes down to Miami, Boston, Philly, Milwaukee right now. The Cavs are not in that conversation. Even though I love Max Strus, I think he's a dog. It's what the Cavs need. I think the Cavs still need to make another move and go get a legitimate number 3, a legitimate wing. Karis LeVert is not the answer. Isaac Okoro is not the answer. Max Strus is not the answer. That's what the Cavs need to do to get in that upper echelon of the East. But I think the NBA is pretty clear right now, where you have Denver, Lakers, Phoenix, Golden State, Sacramento as sort of your West teams. Miami, again, assuming they're going to get Damian Lillard. Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, whatever they do to retool. That's about 9 teams, in my opinion, right now. And you could probably fit 1 or 2 other teams that I'm not thinking of at the moment in championship contention, which is a far cry in the NBA from what it has been in years past, when obviously it's been 2, 3, 4 teams winning the championship. It's why I believe the league is in really good shape. You like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.